Hi and welcome back. Today is how to make a stained glass tree number 12, with sheet, flat glass, and of different textures. Now, the fun thing about this particular tree was the star topper, I think. This is the pattern I made for the glass that I use for the topper. And I used my ring saw to cut this shape because I would not have been, as successful if I cut it by hand. So I did this with my ring saw, which was very handy. So see, we can just kind of whip it around pretty quickly. And even though, yes, I have sped up this video, it still is pretty quick way of cutting. The good thing about this particular blade is this is the oval one that it comes with it, and it goes forward, backwards, side to side, which is really nice. So what I showed you earlier was some of the shapes I made for the hoops to go around the tree, and right now I'm just soldering the base of them together so that they're continual circle or octagon or whatever they are. Now, I also made, besides just the star shapes themselves, which I did foil all this stuff with the regular width of 7/32 inch black backed foil. Um, the rectangles, I made a whole bunch of rectangles and foiled them also. I'm using for the sheet glass, I am using all different textures of clear sheet glass. So there's a big variety. Now, what I wanted to do was I wanted to be able to have these rectangles hold up the space between the front and the back of the stars. And my vision was to have lights inside this so that it would be a nice lit up star. As you can see, I'm now going around the whole thing, and I'm making sure that all the edges are soldered and that it's really strong. I'm going to have it open at the bottom because that's where I'm going to actually attach it to the tree. So at some point I gotta stop putting rectangles on because I need to have it open. So I am soldering the inside where I need to help hold it all together. You can also notice that there's a wire sticking out at each point of the star. Those are going to be for the beads I'm going to add to this. Now I'm adding solder to every edge so that everything is the silver color. So everything has solder to it, even at the base. So I'm holding it up in the air and I'm making sure that everything is soldered. Yes, I'm wearing silicone gloves for this project. Um, I always like to wear gloves so that keeps my hands free of the chemicals, and if I get a little bit of solder on me, it doesn't burn my finger. Now, did you see how I did that? I had this big ball and I put it through the wire that I said that there's a wire sticking out of each side, and then I wrapped it around, pushed it down, and I'm soldering it to the other side. So I had the wire already soldered into one side, and then I soldered it to the other side of the rectangle. So I have a round bead on each point of my star. And then I just looked at my other part of the star, made sure that it looked okay. And I am just tinning that because I'm not going to be able to solder this part onto the other part because I'm going to add lights to it first. So I'll just glue them together when I'm ready. Now, these are larger pieces of my textured flat glass that I'm using for my project. Now, I'm actually building this over a foam form that I have wrapped a piece of silicone sheet around. It's actually one of my my tree forms that I had covered with the piping bag. But as you can see, the piping bag has been melted a little bit here and there, and that's because it wasn't as successful a form to use. So that's why I'm just putting a sheet of my silicone around it just to kind of keep it from melting, because that's what was happening with the other one. It was just the piping bag was not protecting it enough. So it was a great try, but no, it wasn't a great idea, I guess. Right now I have my little 5-sided polygon right there, and I am attaching my pieces of flat glass to it to make the shape of the top of the tree. So I'm going to be filling in solder here and there to make the shape of the tree. So there's basically 3 different steps to this tree, 3 different like layers of this tree. So this part's very similar to the last tree that I did that was made with flat sheet glass. The real difference in this particular tree is the star at the top. So if you saw the other video, it's pretty much the same. So I used solder and actually put wire going from one part of the tree to the next section of the tree, and I helped hold together my tree that way because I was just kind of worried that the tree itself wouldn't have enough support with just having the solder between the top and the bottom of the triangles. And that's because you're then relying on basically the foil, the solder that's on the foil to be the support. And I didn't really want to go there. So what I did was I added a wire along the outside of each of the tree's triangular sections, and then just kind of blended it in with solder so that, they would all kind of help hold it together. And if you use a wire that's like 20 gauge, 22 gauge, around that, then it has some strength to it, but it's not so thick that it's hard to bend to the right shape. So you just got to make sure you don't have something too thick. Now this is, as I'm showing you, the star itself, trying to attach the star itself to the top of the tree. So I wanted to put it in a place where the tree would support the star would end up being in the middle, and the other half of the back of the star would still fit. I'm putting like a little support wire that's bent like it's the bottom of the tree, so it's bent like the star itself. And I bent that piece of wire, and then I'm soldering that on. Now I probably used like 18 gauge for that because I wanted that to be kind of sturdy. So it's not going to be as thin as the other kind of wire that I was using, but I didn't want it to be extra honky and hard to bend. So like an 18 gauge or a 16 gauge is plenty for that. Now remember, as I said, I'm going to put lights up this tree. So I did leave enough of a hole at the top between where all the points of the top of the tree hit together. I did leave a gap there so I could get the lights going up it. And I decided that my tree needed a little bit more decoration than just the flat glass, and I wanted a little bit different than the other one that I made. So what I did was I used these square, like, cubes. They're not really cubes, but they're more like, they're just hunks. They're pretty thick. So they're not like thin, like normal sheet glass. They're probably like 3 times as thick as a normal sheet glass, but you can get them. People use them to make different kinds of mosaic artwork, or maybe use them in cement art. So they're pretty easy to find. but I put a bunch of them together and soldered them so there's like a little row of them. And I made a whole bunch of these rows, and I'm putting one in each of these larger gaps that we have here. So that would kind of add to the interest and twinkle with the lights. And then I decided at the top I would put some more in, and two of them pretty much fit if they're at a slight angle. So yeah, I can do that. So basically I would put two in and then fill the gaps with solder so they look the same. And then I went to the next side and I put two in. Oops, that's going to have to be adjusted a little bit. That's okay. See, you can do that. You can reheat the solder and move the object a little bit if you need to. And then I added some crystals because, like, I love crystals. So I did add some crystals to this. Now, they were kind of a pain to hold because they were very small crystals. They were probably 8 millimeter by 10 millimeter, and those right there that I'm putting at the top are probably 10 millimeter in diameter. So they're pretty small crystals, but they were pretty, and they added some glint here and there when it's done. Now this is my star when I'm done. That's on my tree. What I did was I actually glued them so I had one at each point on the inside of the star before I glued the back on. And then I put a bunch of lights in the bottom of it, and they're all different colors, and it was really fun. They change color, and it really made for an interesting tree. I liked it. And it's fun when you have the Christmas lights that are on a remote so you can change the color of your tree. That's kind of fun too. Well, thanks for watching. And there's still a few more tree videos, so please subscribe so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. And have a good day, because Christmas is coming real soon. Thank you.